has been pressed, and we're live. Finish alerting the channel.
I alerted them.
I should alert the Twitters. What happened to TweetDeck? Oh, there it is.
Tweet.
Yeah, I should have done this before I clicked that button. Hi, internets. We're busy getting the shop in order, and then we will officially...
Supposed to go shopping before Christmas. What's wrong with you?
I'm totally done with that. I'm not going to go shopping again for the next 6 months. Including food. I'm not going to get any retail anything ever again. That probably won't work very well. All right, folks. Let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Iron Sysadmin podcast, your source for IT news, commentary, and a healthy dose of paranoia. Getting this show set up and ready to go and live cost me half a beer already. So, I shouldn't say cost. I've consumed half a beer. How's that sound?
So we're off to a good start then.
We're off to a good start. I have a whole second one in reserve right there waiting for me. I probably won't even get through the news before it's time to pour it. So, welcome to episode 52. This is the last episode of 2018, which means we're supposed to make wild, harebrained predictions about what 2019 will bring, right?
Yeah. I'm betting let's see. Nobody's going to get broken into in 2019.
Oh, really? That is wild and harebrained.
We've solved security.
Yeah.
Devops is going to make every product perfect, so there won't be any more security holes.
Right. So, no, instead, Iron Sysadmin is going to hop in the time machine and look back at some of our cool episodes from 2018. So, if you guys haven't heard them, you'll get to know what you're missing. See how we did that? Promoting our own show on our show. Isn't that the way this should work?
Your marketing skills are beyond me. I don't understand.
I have no marketing skills. Zero. At any rate, let's get into the news. AT&T is planning on lying to everyone, just like they did last time.
Well, no, I mean, well, you know, look, they're going to... yes, they are.
All right, so The Verge reports that AT&T is going to put fake 5G logos on all of its 4G LTE phones.
Okay. They're going to put a real 5G logo on it. It just won't actually represent that you have 5G. I mean,
that's correct.
Let's not.
The logo will be for reals. The technology behind it will not. So yeah, right. I guess now that we've cleared that up.
Yeah, it'll be 5G if it's actually on a 5G network and using a 5G radio.
Right.
It'll be 5G-E for everything else.
5G. Is that like Edge, like their old Edge network?
Yeah, I guess.
Newer phones. LG makes it.
Apparently the E stands for evolution.
Oh. Which probably gets you nothing more than 4G LTE. Oh, the E is displayed smaller than the rest of the logo. Refers to 5G evolution. You're right. Term for networks that aren't quite 5G, but are still faster than traditional LTE. Nice. Oh, wow. They even have a screenshot of what the 5G logo looks like, and it's all like slanty, like it's fast.
Yeah. Well, right.
Wow.
Right. So I'm looking forward to my over-the-air hardware upgrade.
Yeah, right. It's going to upgrade the radio and the antennas and like the entire network in your area.
Yep.
All over the air. That's awesome.
Yep. That's what happened when I got my when it went from 3G to
4G. Right.
You know, showed 4G for months, and clearly my phone went faster.
You know, it's funny. Having lived through the early mobile networks and all the way up until the current mobile networks, 4G LTE, they never, to me anyway, they never felt ridiculously slow. It's like when 3G was the thing, 3G seemed just fine. Now that I'm on 4G, if my phone falls back to 3G for whatever reason, it feels like, how could anyone live this way? I don't know if that's
like dial-up.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Yeah, right. When I was on dial-up, it felt okay until I got a cable modem, and then it was like, how did I live at 14.4 ever? So anyway, I feel like this whole thing is a very deceptive practice. But they did do it last time when we moved from 3G to 4G, and they got away with it. And I guess had we been running a podcast at the time, we would have said the same thing then. That
Yep.
It seems very underhanded and like you're pretty much lying to your customers. But I guess that E makes it okay. The E means you're actually on a 4G network. Right? Right. Just say yes.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
A Jedi Day says that E stands for whatever. That's a good one.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain looking for words that start with E that fit in there, and it just I can't.
Whatever works. Exclusive. I don't know. Evolution. All right, moving on to a very interesting article from the Register. I actually originally read this on Reddit and then had to find an actual article so we could link it in the show tonight. Yeah. So apparently, a gentleman in the UK who is affected by the GDPR or is under the whatever jurisdiction of the GDPR decided to exercise his right to request all of the information that Amazon has on him, because it's a thing you can do under GDPR. And it took them several months. I think the article says 6 months, which is sort of par for the course, right? I'm going to do this thing that, you don't really want me to do. So you're going to make it very slow and painful. And eventually you will comply just enough that you have complied. So that's what Amazon did. They sent him everything, including all of the recordings they had of him speaking to his Amazon Echo device, right? Now, anyone who's listening to the podcast, I'm hoping you're already aware of this. When you speak to your Google Home device or your Echo Dot or your whatever Amazon thing, your smart home devices which you speak to, what generally happens is the home device records what you said, very rapidly sends it off to a cloud provider, which then analyzes the thing and tells the device to do the thing that you told it to do, which is why there's sometimes a slight processing time, and why when you're not connected to the internet, like if your Wi-Fi is down or your cable modem is down or whatever, these things flat out don't work because that processing is not happening on the device. Okay, so we've now established that the recordings of your voice go to the provider. Most providers, for whatever reason, keep these recordings. I can go into my Google account and I can say, tell me the data you have on me. And there's a place where I can literally click through and see all the times I've asked my Google Home device to tell me the news or the weather or set a timer or, like what's the capital of Istanbul, whatever, right? So this is data that Amazon also keeps, and they happily provided, or maybe not so happily provided, to this man when he asked for his records. The only flaw in all of this is he does not own an Echo device. He uses Amazon, I suppose, otherwise he wouldn't be asking for this data, but he does not own a smart device. He does not own, or not a smart device, a smart assistant that he would speak to from Amazon. So, of course, he was curious when he got 1,700 recordings of what sounded like a young couple asking their Amazon Echo device to do things. Not like seedy things, just things like you'd ask an Amazon device to do. Turns out that when they sent him the data, they sent him somebody else's voice recordings. So, yeah. Oops. The article goes into a bit more about what then happened, which basically was the man asked Amazon, what are these things? And then they very quickly realized they sent him the wrong data. And then basically brushed it off and said, oh, yeah, oops, we'll look into that. And, sort of ignored him from then on. And then quickly deleted the download link so he couldn't go download it again. But he'd already downloaded it. So he contacted, I don't know if it was the Register or some other news agency. I forget. I remember it said a news agency that he contacted. And they repeatedly tried to contact Amazon for comment. And each time they said, This was an unfortunate case of human error and an isolated incident. We have resolved the issue with the 2 customers involved and have taken steps to further improve the process. It's not mentioned in this article, but in the Reddit post that I had read, the supposedly what they had done to make this better for the man who did not have an Echo Dot is they sent him an Echo Dot and gave him a free year of Amazon Prime. You can't make this stuff up, guys.
Well, now he has a Echo Dot that he can have recordings on. I just wanted to point out something really important in this article.
Yes.
Which is this article. Istanbul can't have a capital. It is a city. So
shut up. You looked it up, didn't you? You're like, wait, let's see if we can show that Nate doesn't know anything about geography. Welcome.
I asked the local smart device.
Oh, good. Did you just muted and asked your Alexa?
No, I Googled it.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Istanbul used to be the capital of Turkey, and it got fired. It's Ankara now. Okay. Ankara. I don't know, whatever.
So do I have to
say that?
Do I have to correct this to make you feel better?
Yes. Or? If you could say, what is the capital of Turkey, and cut that and replace it back in the audio file.
Okay. What is the capital of Turkey?
You're not doing.
It's not gonna fit.
Happen.
Totally not gonna do
size?
This.
Okay.
Right. So, because that's how this works.
Yeah. So tangent aside, turns out smart devices introduce all sorts of complexities into things.
Yeah.
And these things happen.
Human error is a thing.
I don't know. I don't know. So it's funny because a lot of these companies, Amazon, Google, etc., say that there's this. Sometimes they tell you we don't keep the recordings. Sometimes they say we use the data from the recordings to make things better, but we don't actually keep the data longer than X period of time. So like, it's hard to. I'd love to go back and see what Amazon was saying about their recordings, and then sort of compare that to, hey, there's 1,700 recordings in this dump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I completely understand. I mean, there's probably thousands of things that I've said to my Google Home device on Google servers. I've never gone through and counted them, but there are quite a few. And it's basically every time I've asked it to do anything, those recordings are retained. I don't know why they retain them. That does seem kind of, I don't know, weird, creepy, whatever. But they do. So, it is what it is. I know that they do it, and I've accepted that they do it, and that's it.
Taste and see.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, if it bothered me that much, I wouldn't use it. Simple.
Fair enough.
All right. Moving along. We got a story from Wired. Oh, right. This is the one that I linked as a podcast, and you so helpfully found the actual article about. Have you read the article?
I have briefed through the article.
Okay.
Not very surprising, to be honest.
This is another case of, I heard this actually from my Google Home device as part of my morning lineup while I'm eating breakfast and getting ready for work. And it's titled, "We've Got the Screen Time Debate All Wrong. Let's Fix It." I don't remember what they suggested to fix it. Maybe you skimmed that. But the gist of the article is basically they stuck science to this to see. So everyone, all right, so I'll rewind for half a second, maybe even like 20 years. Parents, since the dawn of television, have been telling your kids what? Don't watch so much TV, it'll rot your brain. And that has just evolved over the years, right? And it's turned into, it went from televisions to computers to tablets to smartphones to whatever, right? And now it's basically the same argument. Don't spend so much time staring at a screen. We've gone from TV to screens. Screens is the generalization for anything that you would have called a TV in the day. And parents just generally believe, and society generally believes, that if you stare at a screen for too much, you're going to become some worthless pile of garbage because whatever. can't possibly be teaching you anything. You should be out playing, right? Go ride a bike, go climb a tree, go smash mailboxes or whatever it is that you want to do when you're not allowed to look at your screen. And this article basically says we've checked into it, and spending up to 3 hours a day on a screen of any sort isn't really hurting anybody. And they said that there's a very, very small number of people who are affected by it when you go beyond 3 hours.
Oh, I'm screwed.
You're screwed? Well, maybe are you saying that you're in the small number?
Well, I work on computers, so I'm on screens like...
Oh, right. No. See, that's different. You're being productive on a screen.
Oh. Okay, we'll go with that.
At least I think that's different. I don't know. Because otherwise, I would be arguing with myself all day long. Why are you looking at the screen so long? Oh, because your boss pays you to do so.
Yeah. So, I haven't never been able to confirm this, but I had heard from somebody who was talking about the screen debate that, back when books became a big thing, that there was a big debate about whether books rot your brain. So,
oh, really?
So it's more of the same, but more to something that I can point my finger at. We cut the proverbial cord about 12 or 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I hated the cable company because I used to work for them. Anyway,
it's a good reason. It's a good reason.
Yeah.
I also used to work for them, and I kind of hate them too.
We did actually notice a difference in our children, and it took a month or two, but it was a vastly different experience with the kids after cutting the cord. Turns out, if they don't know about all the crap they sell on TV, they don't ask for it.
Yeah. Well, no, they've filled in for that. I mean, maybe this doesn't happen to your kids as much, but my kids end up just watching videos on YouTube of little kids unboxing all the cool toys that they would have been seeing in commercials on TV.
Yeah, it's slightly different, but yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Somehow my kids still know what all the hot toys are, whether they see them on TV or not.
Right. But that's the one big thing that we noticed. As for changes in academic performance or staring off into nothingness and acting like zombies, no, it's pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah. So they still stare off into nothingness and act like zombies? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's genetic, though.
Could be. So yeah, to screen or not to screen, science says it's not such a big deal. I'm sure somebody will come up with a new article refuting this because they think screens are evil.
Right.
Maybe this was recorded by a scientist who happens to like screens, and he's skewed the evidence, and now someone's going to do the other thing in the other direction.
It's just like the science about chocolate and the science about alcohol. It's good. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Right.
Drink coffee. Don't drink alcohol. Eat chocolate. Eat chocolate flavored coffee, alcohol. I don't know.
Like a couple years ago, you probably saw this article, but the ones where science determined that women required more sleep than men. You remember that one?
Vaguely.
It's like 2-3 years ago, and it was like, oh yeah, scientists have figured out that the woman's brain actually needs more sleep than men. So husbands, you should let your wife sleep in more because that's exactly what she needs in order to refuel her brain. The piece that all of the people that were pushing this article left out was that the number of minutes that the female brain needed longer than the male brain to sleep, 20 minutes. So,
Okay.
Well, no, they were implying like, oh yeah, let her sleep in. And really what it was is she needs 20 more minutes. So go get a shower, then wake her up.
Or, take the time to make her coffee so that when she wakes up, she's...
Yes! Perfect! Or, a, what do they call it? Mimosa. Depends on your wife.
Wow. 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, right. Anyway. Speaking of women.
Speaking of wives.
This is really not a great transition.
No, it's not.
It's related 100% to females.
No,
That's
no,
the
I got
only
it.
link. That's
I
the
got
link
it.
between these two. What?
They need more sleep and they shouldn't be online.
That's not a good message to say.
No?
Not a good message to send.
Well,
Iron Sysadmin podcast does not endorse the statement that Jason just made, unless he's going to
okay.
cover for it.
No, racking my brain. Hang on.
Right. So this
anyway,
one's all yours. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is going to come as a shock to the community as a whole. So if you're not sitting down, I would sit down. Turns out
I got
women
that. I'm sitting.
women take quite a bit of abuse online.
No.
Specifically, according to this particular bit of science, they get hit with about one abusive statement every 30 seconds. Now,
not each woman.
No. It's
that would be horrible.
Women in general, there is an abusive statement aimed at a woman every 30 seconds.
Okay.
Which is a little.
It's still pretty horrible.
Crazy. The problem is that a lot of those abusive statements aren't like. You'd think like somebody yelling at somebody else to shut up or go get in the kitchen or whatever was like, okay, that's abuse, but like, whatever, it's not a big deal. A lot of these statements are like, I'm going to rape you. You should die. All sorts of
pretty abusive.
Very, very negative, nasty. It's not, and it gets worse if you're not a white woman. Turns out, women of color or black women or whatever the current term I'm supposed to be using is,
right.
I get 1,000 times worse. So if you are online, regardless of who you're talking to, how about we follow Wheaton's Law? Don't be a dick.
Yes, that's a great idea. Yeah, I was sort of curious how deep the abusive statement comment went. Does that cover like the horrible things and including the not so horrible things, like the I just hate you sort of things versus the I'm going to,
Yeah, it doesn't really give a good definition of what they're considering abuse here.
Right, because I would be curious, and again, you linked this article. Full disclosure, I very, very briefly skimmed it because I didn't even realize you linked it until I was writing up the show notes. But anyway, so this may sound uninformed, but I'm curious, did they have any comparison to males online? Like, did they say, like, this is 8 times more frequently than a man?
Not really. It's specifically targeted towards
right.
women. That's
right. All. I'd be curious to know the numbers, like, of abusive comments toward a man, And I mean, obviously, like, I'm not trying to say that this is all hogwash. I'm simply curious what the comparison would be, because there's a lot of men who attack each other online, and sometimes it's not even in a truly abusive way. It's more or less just like trash talking, right?
Right.
And I'd be curious how like heuristics and AI could even deal with that.
Well,
again,
they use machine learning on this, so we know that the data is correct.
It's got to be true. And again, I'm not trying to stamp out this discussion or make it sound like this is inconsistent or an inadequate article. I'm just honestly curious, what does it look like from the other perspective? Anyway.
Yeah, it's look, in general,
yeah,
I'm kind of a dumpster fire online. So
yeah, and I'm not saying that I don't see this happening or something, because I do, and I completely believe the article. I believe that this is definitely a problem, and I mean, I don't know what to do about it other than tell people to stop being assholes. Good luck with that. Welcome to the human condition, right?
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Anonymity allows people to do, or anonymity.
Yes.
Gives people the belief that they can say whatever they want.
Yes. Yeah,
and there's no consequences.
That is a problem.
So, and speaking of the socials, are you on that? Are you on that new social network?
Just one last thing, that article was from Fast Company for anyone who didn't catch that, because I don't think you mentioned it.
Oh, we're doing that now? Okay, so
I try to do that because, you know, I mean, they're all in the show notes. All these articles are always in the show notes, and they're linked to, you know, the articles we read. But I just like to mention it on the show.
okay.
That's all. All right, moving
So,
on.
are you on that new social network?
Yeah, this one kind of floors me. So this is from The Verge. Yeah, again, your article. So you go ahead with whatever intro you had planned or didn't.
That was the intro. I mean, I was just going to throw it out there.
Okay. Then
So
throw away.
The Verge claims, not even sure if that it's really their claim, but their article basically states that Fortnite was the most important social network of 2018.
That's interesting. What makes them say
which is
so?
interesting. Basically because because the number of people that get online and sort of just stay in Fortnite forever.
Yeah.
So there's it's very much become a viral game, and there's just a incredible number of people that play, and I mean we've been watching people come over, like my son's friends, or you know, they come over and just start talking about Fortnite. It's a different language. It's all. It's not just the game itself. It's stuff that happens in the game that sort of expands outside of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, my kids play Fortnite, not religiously. Like, I understand that some kids do, and they're 4 and 8, right? So, how much do they really play? To be honest, the 4-year-old plays it more than the 8-year-old, and she has no idea what she's doing. She just like throws things around and shoots at things, and you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird to watch a 4-year-old play Fortnite. And people are going to call me a bad father, I think, for letting my 4-year-old play Fortnite. But she can't even read, right? So if someone's trying to, you know, send some horrible texts her way, she doesn't even know. All she sees is the colors and the people and the shooting and the whatever.
It is one of the weirdest first-person shooters I've ever seen.
It is.
I'm not even sure what to. You know, I've watched it played a couple times. I haven't bothered to waste time playing it myself, but just watching people play it, I'm like, are you chasing after you? Are you building something? Are you just running around being idiots? Like what is going on in this game?
Watching somebody play Fortnite who's good at Fortnite is like the strangest game I've ever seen. It's like this weird cross between Minecraft and like Call of Duty.
Right, exactly. And it's just it's very odd.
It's odd. Maybe we're just sounding like old men at this point.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Stop building that house on my lawn.
Stop building that house and stop shooting your friends on my lawn.
Well, I mean, as long as they clean up, I'm okay with that, I guess.
Very odd thing. So, I mean, I get where this article's going. I mean, you remember the BBS days, right? Like a true multi-user BBS, where you had multi-user games and chat and everything all in one place, right? And it was like this little club. People would dial up, they'd log in, they'd be playing Trade Wars 2002, chatting with their buddies, and you would spend, I mean, if you were really into whatever you were doing, or even if you were just hanging out chatting, you could spend 8 hours a day dialed into this thing, completely immersed in it. Right? And I feel like that's something that social networks today sort of lose, because you really just get a whole pile of information of varying qualities, and there's nothing that truly engages you there. There's nothing that really keeps you there other than the information, like seeing what so-and-so was up to, or what so-and-so had for dinner, or, you know, on Christmas Day, seeing how people unwrap their presents, right? It's not nearly as engaging, I think, right? It's the sort of thing where you might log in and check for 15 minutes, or if you're really bored, half an hour, and then it's like, okay, I've been through this, I'm done. Where something like Fortnite, where it's not just a chat element, it's not just communicating with your friends, there's a game you're playing at the same time, and that game is engaging in some way. Maybe they're onto something.
Maybe. I mean, we can bring walled gardens back.
Yeah, right. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but I mean, think about. I recently listened to my audiobook of Ready Player One again. So think about the Oasis as described in that book. Like, that's exactly what society could be headed for. An online world like Fortnite in this example, where everything you need is right there. All the people you want to talk to, all the entertainment that you need. The only thing you need to do every now and then is log out to eat a pizza.
Well, that's until I get my Arduino Raspberry Pi based pizza stuffer working.
Pizza
and then
stuffer.
I can just sit there and it'll stuff pizza in my face.
Can I get like a pizza IV? Is that a thing? That'd be great. Put all the cholesterol right into my blood.
Injecting pizza directly into your bloodstream is probably a bad idea.
That might be bad. So anyway, I think that's the news for tonight, unless we want to talk more about injecting pizza into our blood.
No, I think that's the news.
Are there any articles about injecting pizza into our blood? All right. Let me get back to my notes here. There was something we could talk about next. Oh, announcements. We are, as of the moment that I started up this broadcast, 2 subscribers away from 100 on YouTube.
No, you're a liar. We have 100.
We may be 100 now, because I saw at least one come in, and I saw someone else, one of our friends, mention that he was going to subscribe. So thank you to the folks who have subscribed in the last 20 minutes or so.
We don't have our custom URL yet. You are slacking.
It takes them a minute to really realize that. So yeah, we got 3 subscribers, I think, since we... No, 2 subscribers since we did that. So we're at exactly 100 now. Awesome. So thank you, folks. Now get us to 1,000 so we can turn on monetization and you can see commercials during this. You probably see commercials during this anyway. I just don't get any of the kickbacks.
Yeah. We want kickbacks.
Yeah. Listen, if someone's going to get paid for my content, I want it to be us. Sorry, I worded that improperly. If someone's going to get paid for our content, I want it to be us. Not to cut the co-hosts out. Sorry about that. So, anyway, moving on. I don't know if we have any other announcements to talk about. I think there's a DEF CON 610 meetup next week.
Yeah, that would be the first Wednesday of the new year. So yeah. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think there is, in fact, a DEF CON meetup next week. Also, a coworker and listener of the show is working on setting up an AWS meetup group in the Easton area. So that'll be coming, I think, in February. I'll get more information and we'll talk about it on a future show.
Is that guy that's been posting that on all the Slacks I'm on?
Yes. Yeah, he's definitely spamming. Let's talk to him about that. So at any rate, I will get more information about that and include it in a future show. But I think he's going to hold it at Two Rivers, the same place that we're doing the DEF CON meetups, and see how that works out. And I think he said he's going to be starting it in early to mid-February. I don't know if he has a date set yet. He probably does, and I just didn't bother to look it up. So sorry, Rob, but at least I mentioned your meetup. All right, so this is the part of the show where we would normally be talking about reviews we've received since our last show, but there have been no new reviews. And that's terrible. So if you want your review read on the air, whether it's good or bad, please leave us a review, because we want to hear from you. We want to know what you like about the show and what you don't like about the show. And minus the profanity, we'll even read the bad ones. Unless, you're making fun of our mothers or something.
Now, if you're very clever with the profanity, we may read it anyway.
We may. You may have noticed we're not exactly great on the filters around here. What's the capital of Istanbul again?
Ankara or something. It starts with an A.
You got it wrong too. It's not Istanbul. It's Turkey.
I'm gonna drink more.
I'm gonna have some more beer. What are you drinking tonight?
This would be the Game of Thrones whiskey from Johnny Walker.
Is that a Security Weekly tumbler?
Why, yes, yes, it is.
That's pretty cool. Maybe we need Iron Sysadmin tumblers since we
I
drink so much on this show.
I concur. Well, we'd probably start with like Iron Sysadmin lager glasses.
Yeah, that might work. Speaking of which, we have Iron Sysadmin shirts on Teespring.
We do.
I've been talking about expanding that and haven't done it yet to things like coffee mugs and maybe beer glasses. Have to see if we can do that. I don't know if Teespring does beer glasses or not.
If they don't, we'll find a new vendor.
They probably don't. We'll have to find a vendor that does beer glasses. Speaking of money, just a quick plug for our Patreon. We've lost most of our patrons except for one, and I think he's a co-host. So if you guys, yep. If you guys want to help us run this show in a way that requires you to do nothing other than interact with Patreon, then you should go ahead and send us whatever you can afford via Patreon. Whatever you think we're worth. I don't care if it's pennies. Pennies are fine. Although after Patreon takes their cut out of the pennies, we'll get fractions of a penny, and that's not going to work so well. Anyway, that's enough about money. You got anything fun going on this week? Yesterday was Christmas here in the, well, I guess not in the U.S., everywhere. Christmas everywhere, the same day. That happens the same time all everywhere, right? As long as you're someone who celebrates Christmas.
Yep. Yeah, I did the Christmas thing. You know, we had our fun. I'm sure they're actually kind of quiet now. Directly above me, they've turned it into a VR room. So there's been a lot of banging and you know, jumping up and down and whatnot. It is fun to watch my son play games in VR.
What sort of VR setup did he get for Christmas?
The Vive, HTC Vive.
Okay.
So he's got the full room and he's playing all sorts of stuff.
That's cool. So does that work like
controllers and
does that work like a game system in itself? It's not one of these that depends on a cell phone or something stupid?
No, it depends on a full computer.
Okay.
So he's got his laptop in there and it's neat. They're quite cool. So
that's cool.
So he's been enjoying that. I got a controller for my Xbox, all personalized and everything.
With your New York Giants on it.
Yeah, see? You can even see the spelling of my name.
If you'd stop moving it around, we could anyway.
Oh, did you miss it? Bummer.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I fixed I had an Xbox One that the hard drive had gone sideways in. So I spent today, actually, it's relatively straightforward. Put a new updated hard drive in it, larger size. Got a nice Seagate FireCuda 2 terabyte with SSD on it.
Nice.
And got that up and running. So I was playing Xbox earlier.
Cool. So the older Xboxes, the 360 had like a detachable hard drive. Is that not the case anymore? Used to be like clipped on the top or something silly.
Yeah, I clipped on the side. Nope. It's internal now. So I had to quote void the warranty, which meant peel the sticker off, do what I had to do and put the sticker back on so it looks like nothing ever happened.
Oh, good. I'm sure they can tell. Microsoft will know. So could you not get the... What's that?
Warranty's been up for that for years.
I was going to say, so like if it's under warranty, couldn't you have gotten it replaced under warranty? So no, yeah, because it's not under warranty and you really doesn't matter.
No, that was one of the day one editions. So like when it originally came out. I
remember you got it like right off the bat.
Yep. So now I have an Xbox I can have downstairs. So it's gonna increase my productivity.
You have 2 Xboxes now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. When this one died, I wanted to get it was a really good excuse to get the updated version.
Oh, so you went and bought another one and then okay. Yeah, it's the same way I got an Xbox because our previously mutual coworker had a Xbox that red ringed and sent it off to Microsoft, and then he was too impatient to wait for it to come back and bought a new one. And then he gave it to you, and then you bought one, and then you gave it to me.
Yep. Hi, Bob.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So ironically, that is now at work connected to a TV in the CIO's office. that Xbox.
Why?
Because we wanted a
'Cause
gaming system at work and we got it approved. And since he's never in his office, he said, go ahead and put it in my office. And as long as I'm not in there having some kind of an important meeting, you can go play Xbox in there. So we have an Xbox 360 at work now. Yay.
Wow.
I think we've
Nice.
played it like when we first put it in there, we played it roughly once a week for about 2 months, of which I was involved maybe twice. And then I think it's been sitting there collecting dust ever since.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of how that goes.
Another mutual friend of ours, Heave, his his office has a massive TV on the wall with Xbox and PlayStation, and
That's cool.
so they take breaks and nothing's always going.
That's cool. Sounds fun.
Lot more people work there though.
Yeah, we've got since I have younger kids in the house, we have a Nintendo Switch as our main gaming system. I still have the PS4 hooked up. Every now and then I fire up Diablo, and that's really the only adult gaming I ever get in.
How is the Switch?
It's fun.
I've been debating back and forth whether to get it.
So the drive for it for me was to get the new Zelda game because I'm a big fan of Zelda. Not like crazy fan, but if there's a Zelda game within reach, I will enjoy playing it. But really we got it for the kids. They love the new Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey. The Kirby games are fun for them because again, they're younger. That's what they play Fortnite on. It's really a decent system, and I as much as I thought the ability to undock it and play it as a mobile system was gimmicky, it really is functional. So
yeah, I've seen him in the wild a couple times. So
yeah, if somebody's watching a movie and they don't want to be interrupted, or I can't interrupt them, and I want to play a game, I can just like pop out the Switch and play with it. Or same thing with the kids. If we want to watch a movie, or if one of them's watching a movie and the other one wants to play a game, they can just pull it out of the dock and play a game, which is pretty cool. The downside is that it's a $400 system they're just walking around with, and we have to watch them like a hawk and make sure they don't like dunk it in their milk along with their cookies or something.
It's so $400. It's not waterproof.
I'm not going to test that. It does not look waterproof. I'll say that. I haven't looked it up, but I'm guessing it's not. So yeah, the Switch ends up covered in like sticky fingerprints and all kinds of crap, and I got to clean it frequently. But yeah, it's been good. It's been a good system.
Excellent.
Been fun. I kind of like the fact that it uses cartridges instead of optical discs.
Right.
Because they feel more durable to me, and when the kids pop them out, the worst thing we have to worry about is them getting lost under the couch instead of being scratched up and unplayable.
Well, they also do digital, so you can just put it right on the memory of the unit.
I mean, just about every modern system has digital games that you can download. But if you buy a game, which are all still $60 freaking, I don't know why they have to be so damn expensive. But anyway, that's a whole other get off my lawn discussion. I just like the cartridge format. I think it's more durable for kids, and I'm happy they went back to that instead of the optical format they were using on the Wii and the Wii U and the GameCube and whatnot. So, yeah. It's cool. For Christmas, I actually got a copy of the newer Doom game. Doom 4, you might call it, but it's not actually called that. On the Switch, which surprised me. I didn't think Nintendo would play a game like Doom.
The new
violent and bloody.
I played it on Xbox. It's fast. It's very twitchy.
Oh yeah, no, I have it on PC, and I'm much better at that sort of game on PC because I have my trackball.
Right.
So on the Switch, I'm not quite as good at it because of the joysticks. I'm not good at first-person shooters with joysticks. Give me things like Diablo with the joysticks, and that's great, but not first-person shooters. It just doesn't work.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know. You got anything else cool other than Christmas going on? Like there could be anything else this week?
Yeah, the projects here and there. Not really. Nothing super exciting. You?
Sorry, I'm trying to type the things that we just talked about.
Oh, he's updating the notes, folks.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise I'm
Turn
going to
the notes
forget, and
around.
then we'll publish a show notes, and they won't be complete, and they must be complete, right?
Right. Yeah, true.
What would Charles say if our notes weren't complete?
We could crowdsource the notes.
We could. Jedi was watching. He could maybe type notes for us. Jedi, start typing notes. Maybe he's not watching anymore.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, other than Christmas, I don't have much happening. I'm still trying to sell a car, but no one's going to care about that. Yeah, I think that's about it that's going on. I finally fixed my Jeep. Oh, Jedi's still here. He says so. Take notes. If he sends us notes at the end, I'm going to be surprised.
No, he says stick notes on stickers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He'll just print them onto stickers and send us sheets of notes.
All right.
So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's about everything. We can move on to the main topic, which is going to be just a bunch more of us BSing about the past. Doesn't that sound awesome? So it's the week between Christmas and New Year's. If you're not listening to the show right after it releases, you may not know that. But the date of the show is December 26th. Christmas was literally yesterday. And to be honest, it's kind of a hectic week for me. I mean, every week is kind of hectic, I suppose. But I'm off all week, but it's generally, spending time with the family and whatnot. And, well, I didn't have time to think of a good topic for tonight. So what we're going to talk about is highlights from this year, I think. Highlights from the show from this year, which I hinted at the beginning of the show, or flat out told you at the beginning of the show. So I thought I'd pick roughly one episode per month from 2018, minus a couple, because, well, I'll get into this why, but there was a kind of a gap, you may remember, at the beginning of 2018. And we'll talk about that. And anyway, I figured we'd just chat about each show, what we remember about it. We didn't go back and listen to these episodes, so hopefully we're not giving you completely false information. Some of these
we'll make it up as we go.
Some of these I don't know that Jason was even on.
No, some of these I wasn't. I weren't on.
There was a point where Jason was just so busy with work that he was missing a lot of shows. Which is the reason we brought on Dustin and Charles, who you may notice are not here tonight. Charles is traveling, I think. He's away with family, and Dustin is just, has a young baby that doesn't like to sleep. So
I think he's actually traveling.
Yeah, I think he said he was traveling. But I'm sure a young child that doesn't like to sleep and traveling has made him a zombie. So
we can blame the kid anyway.
Yeah, I think we're going to blame the kid until the kid is like 4. And then we'll keep blaming the kid because kids are...
No, then we can just go back to blaming Dustin.
Kids are lots of work. So anyway, I broke these up roughly by month, but we skip a few months, either because nothing really interesting happened or because I didn't feel like 12 was a good number because it would just take too long. So January, we're going to start there because that was the beginning of the year. Maybe you guys remember that January, or maybe this was December 2017. I want to say it was probably January, is when Spectre and Meltdown hit us.
Yep, the gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. We have reported on several vulnerabilities since then that were not fixed by the initial patches. And I mean, to be honest, these things, from what I remember, there was a little bit of intricacy to patching these. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of systems still out there that are unpatched, or at least not fully patched. Because there was CPU microcode updates that had to be applied, and there were OS updates that had to be applied. And that's a lot of work.
And add to that the fact that Intel kept pulling and pushing new firmware and pulling firmware and changing this and updating that.
Yeah,
and this whole Spectre Meltdown mess turned a lot of heads, and an awful lot of people went, "Wait, I can
do what with the CPU?
You directly?" And since then, it's been an absolute field day on hardware.
Yeah, there've been a number of similar attacks, not similar in technology, but similar in vector, right? Attacking hardware
Right.
since then. So
Yep.
yeah, pretty
Yeah, I
interesting
think
stuff.
it's. I don't think we've gone. I don't think we've gone more than like 2 months without another one of these vulnerabilities coming out.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
So
Spectre and Meltdown. And then sometime in February is when I lobotomized my virtualization infrastructure. So February, I don't think we had a single episode recorded, at least not on the website.
yeah,
And
this is
then,
about when Nate figured out that DD is a really
oh
awesome
God,
command if you want to delete things
man.
accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally delete things. Accidentally deleting the entire disk that half of your Postgres database lives on is a really bad move. I'm just gonna lay that out there for all of you new sysadmins. Um, that's a bad thing to do. Take it from my experience.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. If you're thinking about running DD on a production system, be very, very, very sure of what you're doing and do not use tab autocomplete.
Yeah, I think I read the command like 5 or 6 times today when I was doing that. I was
Oh
just
yeah,
trying to. Yeah, I was flashing a USB stick. Um, and
I did that
yeah,
once. I wiped out my laptop once by DDing to the SD. And in that case, it was a laptop where, for whatever reason, the hard drive did not show up as SDA. It was SDB. So, I had a little bit of an excuse there, but it was still kind of annoying.
yeah. No, this is nope. Wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah,
And then of
luckily,
course it finished and didn't work anyway. So stupid
luckily I
thing.
keep good backups of my laptop. I keep better backups of my laptop than I do my Rev Manager.
Well, I mean, I hope you learned from
Oh
February and
yes,
March.
absolutely. The Rev Manager is backed up like 3 ways now.
Oh,
And
good
it
to know.
alerts me when its backups fail, like through Slack. It's like, hey, look over here.
It doesn't work so well when Slack is down.
Yeah, I guess that that could definitely be a flaw. It alerts me other ways too. But anyway, yeah, the episode "Don't Be Like Nate" from March outlines that particular debacle. Is
And
debacle the right
remains a
word here?
debacle. Remains a wonderful story to this day.
Yes. I actually wanted to submit a talk to Red Hat Summit this year, outlining how I broke it and how Red Hat helped us fix it. Basically, a story of how their support helped us get things stabilized, and then how their consulting unit was able to come in and help us get our upgrades and whatnot applied.
And do it. Do it.
I missed the CFP.
Oh, do it anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's already CFP's already over. I checked into this like a month and a half ago, and Summit's not till April, I think. May, April, and the CFP's already passed. Like, damn it. Totally missed it.
Talk to your account rep.
Yeah,
Maybe you can get
right.
it on a panel.
Right, maybe. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think it'd be a cool talk. A lot of people talk about the great side of everything. Like, oh, I did this awesome thing, and this is how awesome it worked out, and this is all the sunshine and roses, or this is the new product we rolled out, and this is how it's helped save us man hours, and this and that. And you don't see a lot of talks about I screwed up, and this is how I recovered from it. So that's why I thought it might be an interesting thing to get out there. Um, I don't feel like I need to be worried about people's opinion of me dropping because I accidentally nuked
Yeah,
a Rev Manager. You know what I
I think
mean?
it's a combination of personal pride and people not wanting to say that they screwed up.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of companies are not interested in making uh, that announcement that these things have happened. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this case, it had from the vendor's perspective, it had a positive turnout because they helped restore the problem. Right. Which is
right,
why I thought it'd be a good talk for a Red Hat Summit.
yeah,
But
but
again,
it potentially reveals whatever.
well, I mean, that was all because of how I was running the Rev Manager. Yes, it could reveal a single point of failure on their side. They have things in place to help make the Rev Manager not a single point of failure, and that's how we run the Rev Manager now. In fact, but you know, Anyway,
Yep.
I missed the CFP, so it doesn't matter. All right, so moving on from that. So that was episode 35. The Spectre and Meltdown one that we mentioned, which I didn't tell you what it was episode 33 in January. So going back to that. In April, let's see. We discussed the finer points of Drupal versus WordPress on episode number 37.
And
I think
then WordPress in depth in 39.
Yeah, right. So I guess these two sort of go together. Then in May, we had Charles on for the first time, and we talked about how to WordPress like a pro. And I think this was just Charles and I. I don't think Jason was present for that. And it was basically so in 37. I think this was you and I.
Yeah,
because you were a big Drupal guy at the time, and I was just moving from Drupal to WordPress.
Yep. Wow, times change.
Yeah, so we sort of debated the differences between Drupal and WordPress because we see those as two of the major CRMs, or I don't know if you really call Drupal a CRM at this point.
Right.
It's almost more like a framework.
Mess. Yeah, framework.
It's also a mess. And I think we debated all that in episode 37. So go back and listen to it. We're not going to get into it again. And then, as Jason mentioned, 39, we talked with Charles basically about how to run WordPress in a way that it wasn't going to be a steaming pile of garbage that anybody could walk into your network with.
Yeah, because, and WordPress had been fairly solid, and things have been wonderful, and so I switched my stuff over to WordPress, and immediately major vulnerabilities. I mean, as of like a couple weeks ago.
There's sort of always major vulnerabilities in everything, everywhere.
Right.
The question is whether you know about it. Yeah, apparently you were telling me about this just before we started recording today. Since WordPress 3.7?
3.7. And there's a bunch of vulnerabilities. Some of them you had to be authenticated in some manner. You didn't have to be an admin, but you had to have an authenticated session.
Yeah.
And you could do things like delete files. You can bypass post types. You can inject metadata, a bunch of XSS stuff. And then the really fun one was user activation screen search engine indexing. So the email and default generated passwords that were being created for users were being indexed by the search engines.
Oh my God.
Oops. Yeah.
That's horrible. That is horrible. WordPress. Horrible.
Yeah, and if I understand correctly, that one existed all the way back to like 3.7.
I feel a little better about the fact that I don't allow user creation on my WordPress sites now.
Right. Yeah, but this affected if you use the root password, like when you created root password, the admin or whatever, when you first created the first user, and it gave you that password. If you never change that, that's exposed.
Well, that's part of the best practices. Change the goddamn password, folks.
Right. Well, yeah, but I mean, that was a secure password they gave me. It was pretty good.
Yeah, right. I put it in my password manager and I forgot all about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am curious, and maybe I'll chat with Charles about this at some point, but some of the tips that we gave out on episode 39, WordPress Like a Pro, were things like enabling SE Linux and not making the web root Apache writable. I'm curious if that, which are not from the standard WordPress install, I'm curious if that mitigated any of these particular problems. I know that indexing one does not sound like something it would mitigate, but changing your password would.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I run everything in a container, so
yeah,
a lot of that stuff is mitigated for me just by virtue of being in a container.
Yeah.
Well, not mitigated, contained. So
contained, right?
They can't really pivot to other stuff, but.
All right. In episode 41 in June, we talked about Devops, and this was sort of a revisitation of that particular topic because we talked about it early on when we first started recording this show back in 2016, late 2016. And this was more or less kind of an update on the topic because when we first talked about it, both of us didn't have a lot of exposure to that particular topic in IT, and we
Right.
gained a bit, and so we revisited DevOps, and maybe we'll do that again in the future. It's only been 6 months or so since we talked about it last. Maybe we'll do it again because it is a very rapidly evolving
Yes.
space. So we may touch on that again. And
Move fast and break things.
yeah, and I mean, I know you've learned more about it. So have I. I've containerized a lot of my workloads as well. Not on a professional basis, but on my personal level stuff,
Yep.
which is very much related to DevOps. I can't say I've got like a full CI/CD pipeline going. Maybe you do. I don't know. I know you've got GitLab doing CI stuff for you.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe we'll revisit that again in the coming months, but not quite yet. It's only been 6 months.
Right.
So then in
Soon.
July, sorry, go ahead.
No, just we'll revisit it again.
Yeah. And then in July, we talked about the very exciting topic of monitoring, and that was more or less, I think that was another revisitation. Didn't we cover monitoring a while ago?
Yeah, and it sort of hooks in with the DevOps thing. I mean, that's sort of part of the process these days.
Yeah. The concept there was to sort of dive a little deeper into monitoring and what sort of options were out there. We talked about a couple different products you could use for monitoring, things like that. That brings us to August. We were all in DerbyCon mode, if I remember correctly. And we were talking about conventions and conferences and how they benefit you as a person, you as an employee, and benefit your employer, things like that.
Right.
So I don't.
That reminds me, I have to get tickets for B-Sides Long Island.
Long Island, huh?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. We're gonna get a carpool and take a big truck out of people to Long Island and go to B-Sides.
That sounds interesting. When's that happening?
I don't know. Look it up. B-Sides. January. January. Go Gadget Internet. Ooh, that's a neat swirly thing they have.
Is there an awesome reason to go to B-Sides Long Island?
It's close-ish. January 26th.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a one-day event.
Oh,
it looks interesting. Even though their website is still not updated.
Long Island.
And we're all going to go out and just sort of crash it.
Long Island is what, like a 2-3 hour drive?
Yeah.
Or is it longer than
that? 2-3 hours.
Huh.
Well,
similar to Delaware then.
Probably closer to 3 to 4 hours. It depends. Honestly, it's New York. It really depends on what's going on and how you navigate the traffic.
Last time I was in Long Island was for a friend's funeral. So it was really colored by, I mean, a lot of things.
Right.
Traffic, grief, all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't a direct trip from here to Long Island. It was from here to a temple somewhere in Brooklyn, I think, and then out to Long Island for the burial. So, it was not a fun trip. So I don't remember much of how we got there. In fact, I didn't drive. So interesting. B-Sides Long Island.
Yep. So I put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, I see you added that. So that could be interesting. Maybe I'll look into whether I can crash your truck.
Oh, not mine.
Not
610.
Oh, really? How did I miss out on this?
Well, you should pay attention to Slack.
Like I said, I've been,
somebody mentioned it, and I sort of went, "Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that."
Cool. So. That sounds like fun. All right, and then September, we revisited our cloud discussion, which again is a thing we talked about early on. I guess we did a lot of this in the latter half of this year. Mm-hmm. And this is, again, a very quickly evolving space. And things had changed for me because on a professional level, because we had started leveraging some cloud services and we've been starting to talk about AWS and whatnot, which led to my eventual trip out to reInvent, which I talked about just a couple weeks ago. So that was episode 47 in September. And then October, of course, we talked about DerbyCon, the most awesome conference of all the conferences. The con to rule all cons, correct?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. I don't
I'll
know.
go down.
DerbyCon's awesome. I don't know if that's just because I'm familiar with it. But I like DerbyCon. DerbyCon's a
Yeah,
fun.
it's got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fun conference. I wish I could go back in time and visit the DerbyCon that I missed. That's how much I like DerbyCon. So yeah, we talked about the Hack Your Derby contest and the Hack My Derby project, which was kind of a flop this year, but we did Hack Your Derby, which really made up for it.
Right.
The fact that we took over the contest, which we never really did do our recap, did we? We were going to do a recap on that, on the Hack Your Derby contest with all the footage we took.
Yeah, we do need to do that, don't we?
I mean, it's getting kind of late now since that was October.
We
And
could
it is
do it
now
as a
December.
preview.
We could record it and do it as a preview later in 2019. And then we'll forget about it.
Right.
And not really do it.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, that was October, episode 48. DerbyCon was different this year. I still had a good time, but it was just moving to the Marriott was weird.
Yeah, moving to the Marriott was weird. Bigger venue, which was nice. I wasn't overly impressed with their staff.
Yeah.
Seemed they were a little more sure of themselves than they should have been.
Yep.
But
yeah,
it worked out in the end.
We'll see how they do next year. The Hyatt fell on their face the first year too. You remember that?
Right.
Ran out of everything. I mean, like they were like going out to bars to try to find alcohol to serve us.
Yep.
And then finally, so November, we didn't cover anything really interesting. At least nothing that hit my highlights.
No, and I think was a November. November went by fast. November was kind of a blur for me.
It was a very November sort of November.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I was on a lot of the podcasts.
Let me.
It was a kind of a rough month.
Let me look back. I'm looking at the wrong November. That's 2016. Totally not what I want to be looking at. November 2018. Yeah, we had one show in November, and it was the one about questioning assumptions, which was sort of related to the cloud talk we had.
Right.
For me, anyway. But yeah, this highlight or not, I didn't put it in the notes. Then December. I mean, what other episode could you highlight in December, aside from the one that we're recording right now at this very moment, than the interview with Ed Scotus, which was great.
Who?
Episode 51. That guy with the Santa Claus and the elf hat.
Oh, right. The guy with the lights in the background that kept changing?
Yeah, the lights. Yeah.
He made that website or something?
Yeah, so that was cool. Since then, Holiday Hack has officially opened. You can go visit KringleCon now, and you can check out some really cool talks from KringleCon. I mean, I don't know. I know you've been in on it a little bit, Jason, but it has been a lot of fun because you get to sit in a talk, and then you get to go take what you just learned and put it into practice because they have built all the different flags and challenges around the talks that are being presented. Not every one of them, I don't think. Maybe every one of them. I just haven't found them all. But I think it's a really, really cool idea.
Yeah, you have the you have the cranberry pies, which are sort of like the intro junior level type stuff that you can attack and beat. And then that leads into hints on the larger contest as a whole, of which I've gotten 2 or 3 of those, and a lot of them are either way beyond my skill set or I'm just not that interested in going after them because of the technology they're using, and I don't feel like setting all of it up. But it is, you know, it was off to a rough start. They had some scaling issues, I think.
Yeah, but when
it's been pretty cool.
Once they finally announced that it was open, so they always do like a soft launch, and that happened about a week after episode 51. So it was the Monday. Was it the Monday after? Tuesday after?
Monday or Tuesday, yeah.
It was early last week. When they finally announced that it was open, which was later last week, it was stabilized, right? So the soft launch was rough, really rough. There were points where I couldn't get logged in, or I get logged in, I get kicked out so frequently that it was unplayable. But then by the time they announced the launch, it's nice and stable now. So if you haven't tried Holiday Hack yet, or if you did during that initial soft launch, you need to go back and try it again because it's good and
that's
stable.
that's the full experience. They did take all of the challenges and everything and put them in a separate location that didn't have all of the graphics and everything around it, so that you could
did
play
they?
anyway. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It's on the Sans Holiday Hack page. Holiday.
Yeah.
I think it's sansholidayhack.com or something.
It's like holidayhackchallenge.com, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
But at any rate, all the talks are YouTube videos, so you can go to KringleCon in your web browser and you can walk into Santa's castle, and then you can go actually into like tracks in Santa's castle where you can then watch the talks, or they're all published on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel for KringleCon, and you can just go watch them. And what I did is I built a playlist on my own channel, my own personal, YouTube, and I just sort of started watching through them and letting them move from one to the next as I'm working and whatnot. And that's really what I did for the first week or so, especially with all the instability. And since then, I just haven't had a whole lot of time to play. I really want to get in there and hit more of those challenges. I've done a number of the Cranberry Pie terminals. I think there's 2 left for me to get through. One is the log analysis one.
Yep.
Which is the thing. Like, yeah. I'm sure I'll get that. I just haven't had the time to sit down and really work with it.
That's the Windows Event Viewer log.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've always hated Windows event logs.
That one.
And I'm sure this will be no different. So there's that, and then there was another one, I forget which one it was, that I haven't done yet. But like I did the Git one, I did the Escape Python one, which was really interesting.
That was interesting.
That was cool. I didn't know you could do those things. One, I didn't know you could limit Python like that, and 2, I didn't know you could work around the limitations in that way.
Yeah, cool. I scratch my head and wonder why people even try to limit you. Like, why would you do something like that? Just put them inside of a container. At this point, just put them in a container and look, if they get out of it and they're screwing out the container, who cares?
Yeah, right, right.
But yeah, it's just I scratch my head on one, like, because a lot of these, or the majority of these, are apparently based on real world scenarios that they were in.
Yeah.
Or why are you letting people do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, in the talk that preceded the Python escape one, he did give some examples as to why people do this, but they didn't make a lot of sense to me.
No, I don't.
Did not make sense to me. And maybe it's because of the scenario in which I use servers and Python, in that I didn't think it made sense. Maybe in a learning situation it does, or I don't know. In a case,
I mean, you have things like Jupyter Notebooks for this, so, and it's designed specifically for this task.
It actually made me wonder if I could abuse Jupyter Notebooks in the same way.
True. Yeah, it's a good question.
And I'm curious about that at this point, and I may go look into that. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers our highlights for 2018. It's been a fun year.
And we're taking suggestions for topics of for 2019.
Yeah. So that really is a valid point. The show has gone on for about 2 years at this point, and most of the topics that we've covered have been just basically, the day of the show, me and Jason, or me and whatever of the co-hosts will get together via Slack and just go like, hey, what should we talk about tonight? And we'll come up with something. And that probably comes through in some of the episodes. So if you guys have any questions or any suggestions on what you want to hear us talk about, as you know, we are both experienced in the systems and network fields. That is Jason and I. Charles brings in a bunch of web development experience and German history. And Dustin brings in a lot of experience from the Windows side. So that's really why we have the hosts that we host.
Networking and firewalls and VPNs as well.
Yeah, right. So related to any of that, if there's anything you guys want to hear us chat about, please let us know. Either look us up on the Slack channel or find us on Twitter, or send us a carrier pigeon. I may just ignore a carrier pigeon because I don't really realize that a message might come to me that way. But it would be really awesome if someone sent me a carrier pigeon. So try that out. If you know how to train carrier pigeons, I won't
Or
be able to.
if you want to be a guest or know somebody who would be a
Yes,
good guest, let's have a conversation.
as I'm done talking about carrier pigeons, yeah, I think the few interview shows that we've had have gone pretty well. So I wouldn't mind having more of those. To be honest, I have trouble reaching out to people just because of my own personality. I always feel like, why the hell would they want to be on this show? But apparently, you guys like this show, so it seems like maybe a good venue for people to come on and chat with us. So if there's products that you want to hear us interview folks, representatives of those products or companies, or if you want to hear us talk to somebody in a field related to IT, give us some suggestions, or even just get us in touch with folks. Or if you work for a place that might want to be on the show, let us know, and we'll see how we can go with that. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop talking about that. You have anything else to add, Jason?
No, just what he said.
What I said. All right. So yeah, apparently we have passed 100 subscribers on YouTube now, or at least we've hit 100 subscribers. So soon we'll have our custom URL. Until then, just go to ironsysadmin.com/YouTube, or as long as I remember, you can go to ironsysadmin.com/live and watch the show from there. But you won't get the benefit of chat, which is what you get on YouTube. So you should go subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell, when we go live. Generally, we're trying to record on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. So tune in on those nights, and you'll be able to watch the show. We generally record around 7 o'clock Eastern. You can join our Slack workspace if you want to chat with us. If you go to ironsysadmin.com, I think it's just /Slack. Unless that link isn't working anymore.
Nope, /Slack.
Yep. Come there. It'll take you right to an invite that we have open where you can get right into our channel. Until people start abusing that, we're going to keep it open. And then after that, we'll figure out. I know there's services out there that'll let you make an invite link that doesn't expire. So we could try that as well if we have to. But for now, that's working well. We've got, I think there's like 40 people in our Slack. It's not the most active channel, or most active workspace, but we do get some interesting conversations going on there. So come on over. And of course, Facebook and Twitter, you can find us there as Iron Sysadmin. You can find me on Twitter as Gangriff, and you can find Jason on Twitter as Xenophage, but he won't spell it for you.
Well, but I showed it. I showed it earlier. I mean,
you did.
You're gonna have to slow down the video, probably stabilize it, do a little.
Yeah.
Look, I've seen it done on CSI. This shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, shouldn't. And you can just what do they call that? Enhance, right?
Right. So once that just yell pause at your computer
and
then enhance and magnify, and it will automatically know what you're talking about. Zoom in and it'll depixelate, and then poof, it'll be there in perfect spelling.
It'll magically create the pixels that were not originally there, and then it'll look awesome.
Yep.
Hollywood says it will work this way. All right, I think we're officially off the rails for tonight. So go subscribe to us wherever you find your normal podcast. Leave us reviews, and we'll read them on the air, even if they're embarrassing. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. I think that'll be okay.
We'll do it anyway. All right, so folks, thank you for the folks who tuned in and watched us live and hit us up in the chat. Rich is there. Jedi Day is there. I don't know if I missed anybody. It looks like everybody. Thanks for joining us, both of you. You're both not folks who have joined us in the past. Rich, we know personally, and Jedi Day, we know personally as well. So cool. It's always fun to have people in the chat.
Yep.
All right. And to everyone who's listening to us audio only, thank you for listening. Or, if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, it'll probably make no sense. So I think we're going to call it a night because I'm done rambling. Any last words, Jason?
Bird.
I'm just going to say happy 2018, folks, and we will see you in the new year. All right. Thanks again to you folks who are in the chat I know we know both of you, and we don't have to thank you so profusely, but we're going to do it anyway because we do that at the end of every show that's live. So thanks for watching, and we're going to end the broadcast. So cool. Check us out next time.